issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's...
From Juba to Bor, Wau to Yambio, Benti to Malakal, Pibor to Torit, welcome to Around South Sudan, your weekly dive into stories shaping the nation. On today's episode, we unpack two major developments that are making headlines across the country and beyond. First, the diplomatic dust appears to be settling in the Makula-Kintu saga, a controversial case involving a Congolese national wrongly documented as South Sudanese. Now, the deportation of Kintu has now been accepted by the government of South Sudan following intense pressure from Washington. But the fallout is far from over, as the U.S. visa restrictions imposed on South Sudanese nationals continue to stir concern. We will ask, how did one man's documentation error trigger consequences for an entire nation, and where does this leave our diplomatic ties with the United States? But first off, we shift our focus to a nationwide directive issued by the South Sudan People's Defense Force mandating the registration of civilian-owned firearms. Now, traditional chiefs and local authorities are now at the center of a high-stakes effort to regulate weapons across the country. But can this initiative succeed where past disarmament campaigns have failed? Joining us in the studio is Kongpal Chang, journalist, analyst, and seasoned observer of South Sudan's political and security landscape. Right to my face and to the extreme end, left to Kongpal Chang, is Diko D. Andrew, and a lady who observes the affairs of this country, but he also hosts entertainment program. And next to me is Darlington Moses, a reporter for iRadio. It's my pleasure having all of you in the studios.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
First thing first, we look at the recent directives from the SSPDF that people, particularly armed personnel moving with guns, are not allowed to do so only when they are on duty. And also the army went on to direct civilians with firearms to ensure that their weapons are registered. And they have until 6th of May to have this done. And after this, there are a lot of measures that will be taken, including the weapons being taken away from them. So, Kongpal Chang, let's start here. What is your take here regarding this decision?
Thank you again for hosting me, Memo. My take on that is that to me is like any other order that are normally announced in South Sudan. So many orders have been announced, and including orders coming from the head of the states. Nobody always implement them. So we can announce, the government can announce, any institution can announce anything, but implementations go nowhere. So my concern is what triggers this? The question will be what triggers this? And because there must be something that triggered that, because when I look at that story where the Chief of Defense Force of SSPDF, Paul Nang, General Paul Nang, made a statement through the army spokesperson that they want to register now all the weapons in the hands of people. If you own a gun, you go and register it. My question is, for those officials who have gun, like for civilians, I mean, you are allowed to own a gun. Were they not registered, and how many are there? The same goes to civilians who are holding guns, especially countryside. You talk so many armed youth groups across the country. They have different names. What triggered that? And there have been incidents. It's not the first time we are seeing some incidents in South Sudan caused by armed youth or armed people who are not licensed to carry weapon. To me, I looked at it, the trigger of this, I will tie it to the case of the incident of drunk SSPDF soldiers the other day.
It was
who went and they quarreled, and then the other one shot his colleagues. And here, boom, announcement that all guns will be registered. Do you have to implement or say orders because something happened? What is the strategy do you have? What strategy do you have as an institution that is responsible? Let me say the Minister of Defense in that case, and Minister of Interior. What plan do they have? But will it work? The question, who will implement it? To me, from that day announcement is made, we want to see visibility or things happening on the ground where we see people going, and who will accept, who will go. We want to see, because it's a developing story, we will monitor and see if it's working actually. Maybe after a week or two, after a month, we will go back and ask, and maybe we will be invited when this program kick off, or maybe possibly it may have, maybe it's going on somewhere. We will follow with this and see whether it is being implemented or is one of those orders that are announced and end up from where it is announced, then nobody implement it. So to me, that's the situation.
Talking about a strategy, you're saying you're actually questioning the strategies that would be used to collect those firearms, because in the past there were attempts of disarmament and this didn't work. So if you were to suggest what strategies should be there, because arms have gone into the hands of civilians, and over the years it's increasingly getting into the hands of civilians. I'm sure there are many civilians who have more than one gun, or maybe having actually a lot of it. So what is the best strategy, if you have to think of?
I think the best strategy is in the peace agreement, because there's mention of disarmament, demobilization, and all those things. That should come out of that, this plan of registering or disarming, because if you look at the announcement or the order, it says that you go and register your gun, and then those who refuse will be forced to be disarmed. And the funny part of it is that you will go and register your gun. When you register, you go back home with it. What is the reason of registering a gun? Do you want to know, are you doing a statistic for guns owners, or what are you doing? Because you register your gun and you are told you go and stay with it, but you stay with it, you don't cross with it to another territory where you are registered, where you have registered your gun should remain with you in that territory. That's how I got it. Then if you refuse, you will be forcefully disarmed. Who has the capacity, by the way, now that can disarm arms, not civilian, armed civilians, forcefully? who has the capacity. The vice president, the former vice president, Waniga, Dr. James Waniga, said that the civilians are more armed than the government.
Exactly.
They can even disarm the government. So where did our CDF get the power? Where did this thing we need to know, this is what we need to know, where did they get that power where they have a war that is going on some part of the country, they are fighting a war, and then again now they want to go and disarm, register, disarm. So that strategy, I still believe that the implementation of the peace agreement is the best strategy, because there is the revitalized peace agreement has taken care, it has mentioned, it has talked about the disarmament and demobilization of soldiers.
And also, Losuba,
Yes.
I would also love to say, the one-way strategy that Omombag is just to create peace. Because if I have peace in my surrounding, all the security is okay, what will be the use for me to go and get a gun? Because like now here in Juba in South Sudan, have you heard there is a store for guns? Is there a store for guns whereby they can register? If that can be made, that will be good. But it's still, how can you make it safe for me to sleep at night? Well, ita babu sana kef kedana ma biu sila, yet some people will come and knock at your door, fata bab, or even they will start shooting at you.
We learned about armory stores.
Yes.
When there were a few explosions.
Yeah.
And
You
those were the
see?
time we knew
That was
that there were
last
guns
time.
in the
Yes.
stores.
So the only strategy
So
I feel like,
there must be stores.
so like at least create for us a peace environment for us not to get a gun. Because loita create le civilian a peace environment, there will be no such cases of people.
So
shooting
are you
each
saying
other.
maybe people feel insecure,
Yes.
and that's one of the reasons
Yes.
they have to look for guns to
Yes.
protect themselves?
Yes.
So with peace,
Yes.
everybody will feel secure and see
Definitely.
no need to carry
Yes.
guns
Yes.
because you don't fear for your life. So anything you want to add on?
Yeah,
Clinton?
yeah. You know what Dico was saying is okay, but then it is good to go back and look at how did the civilians started possessing guns, or how do they become more armed? Even sometimes some politician could say they're more armed than the government. So you see, a spill of inappropriate military objectives from the government could always result into such. And now that the government knew civilians are more armed in some parts of the country, especially I could say in the northern zone where our communities are pastoralist, and also part of eastern Equatoria where I have been reporting several of intercommunal conflicts resulting of which has been foiled by presence of armed nations. Now the thing here is, it needs a strategy, as Kong was saying. Now, what kind of a strategies? Before you could start strategizing something, you first have to review the orders that you previously passed as an institution that is actually concerned with those. Now, there were several of orders of disarmament in the northern zone, even countrywide. Those days back 2021, 2022, I could even remember 2019. So they have to review what happened exactly. We ordered, was it laxity from the civilian actually owning those ammunitions? Do they have to go on a strike? They don't want to give it to the government? Or the government ordered, but they were unable to implement?
Yeah.
Yes. By reviewing those, the institution will really have a very good strategy to make sure they bring out the ammunitions. And now, about registration. How can you register guns from people and you don't collect them? Now, what would it mean? They could come and register. Now, what is the next step? So we could say those are some of the inappropriate ways of doing things that will never take the institution somewhere if they really needed to get rid of something or certain thing. Like in South Sudan currently, we know it is a present of the ammunitions with the civilians, with the young people, youth especially. It is common within the communities who are pastoralists. It is the presence of the armed, that's why they don't have peace. Those days there used to be cattle raiding, but those days it used to be without guns, right? So currently a cattle raid comes, it leaves people with several scores because there are a lot of guns, and that it always provoke what we call retaliations within the communities. Now, creating peace in that way, Diko, will be kind of hard. It will definitely be hard.
But even when it comes to a citizen having a gun and you're asking them to go and register. Now, for instance, you have a gun, you're a citizen. They will ask you, where did you get that gun?
Exactly.
What would be your answer? Where did you get the gun?
So
like she put it, you will think twice.
Yes.
Because this is the volunteer. Come bring your gun. So the question in your mind, okay,
maybe they're lowering me.
I'm holding this gun illegally.
Yes.
So why should I
Go and give it out.
go and give it out?
And even the checkpoints.
So there is that fear
What is the guarantee?
Yes.
What is the guarantee? Because even in that statement, there is no guarantee. Yeah. This is a good deal. Will not. And this is if we do A, B, C, D, then A, B, C, D will happen. Like if we detain your gun, then there's a procedure. Where is the law where you can quote and say, if somebody who is holding the gun illegally, his gun is taken, how will he defend his guns himself? That I need my gun back. You just said, you announced that day, bring your gun, it is just, and you take it back. But now you change your mind, you say, no, I keep it in the store. So these are the things that will be running into the mind of the owner of gun, that we are not against collecting guns, but we are questioning the timing and also the strategy. Yeah, like she put it. I need security. That gun is my security. That gun is my security. For example, let me tell you, in some part of Upper Nile where I come from, actually, as we speak now, if you are walking in the village, okay, the person with the gun is more insecure than the person who has no gun. Because when you walk, unless somebody is looking for you to revenge, maybe some of your relative kill, but if you have not killed anyone, you have any issue with somebody, you are the more secure than the person with the gun, because the person with the gun, there's somebody else who is looking for that gun. Actually, you can be, because that gun is a source of everything. Like if I get it, then I will do everything with it. So even those who are carrying guns, they are themselves, they are insecure, and that's why they have to take gun also to protect themselves with it. So I'm not justifying this, but there are places where even the government is not there. The government there is no president of government. So what do? People, human beings evolve. The way we are totally different in South Sudan. We are not like any most of the country. Maybe we're closer to some country, but the way our civilians are armed and the way they are using guns, the reason why they go and use gun for is something else also.
It appears the order itself gives an impression that the government intends to use force, because you said after this, whoever has not registered will actually face the consequences. So isn't that already a warning that the government is saying we are coming for those guns whether you like or not?
For instance, let's say نقاط التفتيش حسيت كإنسان طبيعي تعرف قال check point الساعة 7 الساعة 8 الساعة 9 the people are already on the street. If you have a gun, will you even tell them like I have a gun? They just do some random checkout. You can be carrying gun during daytime, right? So in that way, are you still going to be asking people to still like, where is the gun?
Right. So this is a tricky thing, and so could there be unintended consequences of collecting all the registered guns after May 6? What might those be, if you think? Unintended consequences. You know, you're looking at this as something that is not likely to be achieved if it is approached in this manner, unless you say, as Kong said, there are strategies behind this.
Yeah. One, maybe because of so much, as we speak now, most part of the country, let's talk about Upper Nile and Unity States and Ruang administrative area. There are clashes. There are clashes in other places, but the current crisis now we are witnessing is the crisis in Upper Nile, where youth, armed youth, are confronting the South Sudan Defense Force, People Defense Force. And that is a serious issue. Could be the reason why they say, okay, you have to register your gun, and we will provide whatever security and all those things. But to me, I looked at it as, it's not the priority. To me, it's not a priority for the government. Actually, the government now, it's like the way the white people say it, you are putting cats before a horse. In our context, we the cattle keepers, when you are taking your animal for grazing, you don't go in front of your animal. You are behind, so you show them the direction. You take them the direction that they are supposed to go. So I think this is a misplaced, to me, is a misplaced, because you need, where is the budget? Personally, you need resources to carry out. You need well-equipped soldiers. You need, because this could be one of the department at Bilfam. Maybe this is the department where the General Olon, for the guy for disarmament and all those things, that could be his department. He need resources. South Sudan is big, and there's breakdown of law. You see what is happening in Upper Nile. Now, instead of them to disarm, they are just fighting the armed youth or the white army. It's just about fighting. It's not actually disarming them. So it's like you put fire here and then you putting another fire in you, another tukul. It's like South Sudan, the current crisis, we need peace. What we need now is peace, not creating another crisis. Because if you go to Murle area and say, or Pibor area and say, I want to register your gun, will they accept? What are you giving them? What are you giving them? Carrot and a stick. Give them something, a solution to their problem, and then definitely anyone, any armed youth can surrender his gun, because I believe they are tired. They are dying. They are the one dying. They are the one killing themselves with these guns.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, somewhat at a point, I really want to say altogether, this looks like a tricky thing at the moment. So I really want to second what Kong says. The priorities shouldn't have been imposing such orders, because we know some part of the country right now, let me say Upper Nile State. How best do you think such orders could work in Upper Nile State?
In this
where,
kind of situation?
yeah, there were scores left, and there were families actually were still mourning
What I
their
said
loved
it is
ones.
only applied to government control areas. We do understand there are areas that are actually controlled by opposition forces.
Of course, what I mean here, it's a tricky thing altogether, because now, at some points, even it's very hard to determine other places where the government is controlling because of the current unrest. So what I was trying to say, the priorities should have been focusing on settling a political, the political turmoil that the country is in right now. So after maybe settling all this, aligning everything in the 2018 peace agreement, and think that at least the result of all the struggles to settle the unrest is now coming well, that's when such orders would work very well. When even the soldiers themselves, they don't have grudge with anyone. Like, they know the government don't have any political problem, or parties are not fighting parties, because now it will be hard, very, very hard for government to implement such orders. That's according to me.
Yeah, yes. and if I can interject there, that if they say this registration is only in government control areas, can they tell us where is the place that they don't control? Okay, and let's say if those places they control not bordering arms communities from areas controlled by the opposition, and who will accept from those communities whom are under control of the government, will accept to be disarmed or surrender his gun or register his gun in that way, and knowing that his neighbor, who is under opposition control, is armed. Even the government cannot even think that, because it's like suicidal. Actually, you are exposing this group, you are disarming or whatever you are doing, to risk, to secure risk, their property, unless you provide security. And you will be also fighting, you creating another front where you will be fighting as a government, securing this community from the other community who are under the other control of the other, maybe opposition, or under control of others entity. Part of so it's very tricky. It's very tricky and challenging.
Really, it's a literal thing that you can just see. Just
Actually,
you know, we know there are militias in the country which the government don't own, right? We understand they exist. Now, because the order is even intended to the government soldiers. So what if you now paralyze the government soldiers and you know there are active militias? What do you think it would be? I can see that the consequences would be dire.
and actually the consequences maybe bukungua. Can if the nice way didn't work out, it's going to be Goa. But now if they're going to use force, begin is a order la mulu fi alfen to Tashar, alfen wada shirin, and the rest of the order, it will just be normal and nothing will be done, no implementation. So we're just going to be hearing the order after order, but nothing is going to be done. So the only thing that I'm really sticking to it, just give us the security, and none of those orders will come to exist.
Right. As you said, it is very tricky, and and you also analyze the situation between communities that are under government control, in government control areas, and those ones who are in the opposition groups. But if you come to areas where there are no these concerns, so isn't it really a good thing? Because we have had stories in areas due to communal conflict, involving clans, involving tribes, and so if this is successfully done, it would reduce or mitigate this violence. And what we are saying is that the violence is being perpetrated by youth, young people who are owning these arms, like those displayed on social media by the White Army, very powerful guns and a lot of things. And so the involvement of chiefs is actually cited in the order in order to ensure that the process is a success in the end. And we learned in the past, chiefs complained that youth were so armed and more powerful than they are, and they had nothing to do. So whatever issues happen, they could not intervene because the youth have actually taken control of the respective areas. So in one way, in another word, the chiefs have been overshadowed by armed youth. So let's talk about how this can be made a success, given the order from the army. So will it be successful? Because the chiefs have been tasked.
In some areas it can be successful, and these are young guys. These are young guys, and maybe they will tell us later if them who are young here in the city can dialogue or can educate their colleagues who are in the village. If there's a way, they know. They've been dealing with youth, and I think they will be able to. But to me, let me use example of Ruweng administrative area and Unity State. There was clashes recently. That clash is cattle raid that went wrong. Cattle raid went wrong. These guys from Unity State, they lost their cows, their animals taken, they followed them, they fall into ambush. And they lost the one that happened, and then they went back. And then now they went and mobilized themselves, thinking the direction where the animals were taken is those guys who take them. They know themselves. I don't know the local politics of that area. But what happened is cattle raid that went wrong according to the commissioner of Mayom County, and even according to the authority in Abingdom. Now, how this gun registration or disarmament can work well in that area? If you approach the good thing they mention of role of traditional leaders. If traditional leaders from Abimnum and from Mayom County are engaged and take a lead, okay, in this process, when they take a lead in this process, they calm the community down, and then the government can come in well professional, come with professional army, force, put it as a buffer in the middle between these two communities, put the force there, because there is still human being is human being. Even if you bring peace today, there are still those elements who will cross the border, cross over, and steal animals. You know, cattle raid will be there with cattle keepers is something. Even in Uganda, in Kenya, is there, and they've really addressed it and really tackle it. But still, there are small incident of cattle raiding, and something like that. So, if the leaders from Mayom, traditionally from Mayom and Abimnum, they know themselves, they both speak Nuer and Dinka.
Yeah.
You go to Abimnum, you can speak Nuer, you can speak Dinka. You go to this side, they are even cousin, they have intermarried. So this community can be easily, the problem can be easily addressed through community leaders, and then youth are brought together, and then if they can surrender their guns or register their gun so that they keep them somewhere, I mean, whatever policy government have, I think it can be successful through traditional leaders. That one can work.
And actually, before he say,
Okay.
I feel like في مقولة بعربي قالي ما في دخان من غير نار.
Yeah.
What is bringing all this tension if the root problem is not known? So why not with us the youth? Listen to us. But the problem is our leaders, they think that Anna Yal Sukerin, itakum lisa kida, you people don't have the experience. How will we get to know about the experience if you haven't sit with us? So I feel like the people in the rural area, there's a problem. Have someone sat with them and say like, okay, why are you people fighting? Why are you people doing cattle raiding? Or even here in town itself, like why are you doing whatever that they are doing? No. That's why like this generational gap needed first to be cemented very well, and let's have dialogue. Let's have a talk with each other. Then we can avoid all these problems, especially when it comes with youth. Because like imagine, South Sudan is 75% of youth. The 25, where are they going very soon? They're going to die, God forbid, but you people are going to die very soon. What are you going to be leaving us with? A generational curse of fighting and cattle raiding and all of this? Of course it's not going to be working. So I feel like it's still, we have that space of us talking to each other and trying to find a way and find a solution to whatever that is happening, and especially with the guns holding. So, yeah.
There is a peace theory called social interaction, and it's the last theory that explains why a community finds themselves actually, defending themselves. One is that where there is absence of government presence and absence of services, and their lives are at threat, they will always fall back and come together to see means of defending themselves. And would you agree with this theory? Does it really apply in our situation in South Sudan? Because that should explain the genesis of where we are in today.
Yeah, you will find out that most of these young people who arms themselves, the intention was not bad from them. For example, the case of Jonglei, where cattle raiding has been there. It used to be there. Before guns, they were using other weapons. But when guns came, especially during Liberation War, a lot of guns went into civilian hands, okay? Yeah. A lot of guns went to civilian hands. So when it went to civilian hands, what do? They try to, when there's any cattle raiding, because cattle raiding for this community, cattle keepers, is part of life to them. Like it's actually, once it could be, you are testing your strengths as a man, that you can defend, and you can go also, because when you go and raid your neighbor and come with a lot of cow, you are a hero. You are branded as a hero. because you can go to somebody's land and bring those come. It's celebrated as part of their culture, part of whatever, because things change those days, but now it's cattle raiding, as if you raid, it's like you are celebrated by your community, within that community. I'm not talking about here in town, but locally on the ground there. So the gun become a source of defending themselves and also attacking. When they are attacked, they use it to attack. Okay? You will see we are going to follow our cattle that were stolen, but in a sense they are going to raid. We were raided last week, we were raided 3 months ago, so we are going back to raid. So it's a cycle of violence goes. So yes, the intention may be good for them, like protecting themselves, because there's absence of the government. Because there are places, seen during the war when Sudan was won, there are places even the SPLA were not there, even the government of Sudan was not there. So you found the community found themselves with guns, and guns become part of doing things, whether attacking or defending themselves using that particular guns. And you can see even community putting resources together for their son to buy a gun. Because if a certain family don't have a gun, like a son of that area does not have a gun, either the cattle will be sold, or he will raid cattle so that he buy a gun using, because even guns are borrowed among this community. So if you talk to one of these communities who are armed, they will tell you the reason and how it benefit them, this gun benefit them, in which way, and how it is harmful to them. So you can say it's bad, but to them they will say, no, it cannot be, unless give us a government, give us peace, give us development, and we will surrender these guns.
Change of mindset.
Yes. Dalating, you want to say something?
Yeah, I really wanted to add something. You know, it's the high time for young people now, like especially those one in the city, or those one who went to school, those one who graduated. It's the high time for them to start advocating about the role of young people actually in consolidating peace and security in the country. Yeah, I don't really want to talk much about the cattle community or the pastoralists using the ammunition for cattle raiding and creating the cycle of violence. Because I have a lot of those that I've been reporting on. Like, for instance, in Eastern Equatorial State, where I've been working from 2023, starting actually from 2022 to 2023, yeah. Like every day you find out that young people are committing crime with ammunitions. They are not pastoralists, they're not keeping cattle, they're not rearing animals, but they do use the ammunitions to create havoc within the society. Like once someone don't have cash in the pocket, we'll just mobilize some 2-3 people with the guns. They go to the roads and rob people, like ambush. And so there are a lot of dangers that young people right now, they are possessing the ammunitions. Now those dangers are now coming back. Yeah. They use it for means of survival, and they don't know that they're putting their own community into problems every time. Now, I really want to say once again that this development is timely. It's not timely, but it is a very important development that at least people should embrace disarmament, because most of the conflict in the countryside live about the political landscape, the political unrest and all those. But most of the violence, intercommunal violence, is being actually fueled by the presence of those ammunitions. Now, young people in the country like South Sudan have been writing a lot with focus on advocacy, like advocating for the rights of young people. I clearly looked at it that young people in this country, they don't know their role they don't know what they have to do to contribute to peace and security in their country. You see, the international communities right now, they have much focus. Let me say the UN and some of the regional bodies, they have much focus on making sure that the mandate that they named Youth, Peace and Security is really advocated properly in a country like South Sudan, so that young people know, because at most we have seen they've been used to actually perpetrate violence, to fuel those, especially those now who owns the ammunitions. Yeah, and also from other angles, like in Eastern Equatorial State, for example, again, you know, every young person wanted to be with a gun. Now, what do you think they need it for? They need it for strength, for defense, and a lot more things. Now it is now, it is now the role of youth union or the government, or let me say ministry that those falls under, to advocate or to put much effort into educating the young people to know what their roles looks like in bringing peace.
Thank you for that insight. And let's look at the legal perspective, because it is also key. Advocating alone is not it's one way to encourage people and change their mindset and say this is an important path for us to take if all of us are to be safe and live in peace. But then also enforcement of the law is important.
Exactly.
And do we have the legal framework? This is an order that has come from the army, but as you questioned how this has come about, is it just that an army will issue an order and enforce it, or it has to go through a legislative means of addressing it? So what is your take on?
Yeah, you know, everything here in South Sudan is done in a way that you wonder whether do these people really know their work, because those people, they have representatives. Even if most of them now in parliament were appointed, we have representative in parliament. And these things, the Minister of Defense through with the Minister of maybe Justice, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but the procedure should be, because yes, we know is unlawful for those holding illegal arms. It's by law, it's not allowed. And the question will be, are we really abiding to the rule of law in this country? Because when you say you are not supposed to hold an arms, or those who are holding illegal arms should be prosecuted, all those things. It's the same way what our civilians are doing, holding arms, legal arms, is the same way when we say it, they will hear that it's not allowed, but it will just pass. But it's because nothing is done. The same way our leaders here who are talking today that this should be done, or who are pushing for this disarmament also, that nobody should be seen with holding illegal arms and all those things. Corruption is happening, and we are not allowed. Corruption is not allowed. You see, it's punishable, but it's happening. People are taking months as they want, but they are not prosecuted. So it's like the law are there, but nobody want to implement. It's like nobody even want to look at the law. We have good law, but nobody want to. So yeah, in terms of legal perspective, Parliament should question that. That how should someone, the guy, the Minister of Defense, say, tell us what is your program? Is it going to affect, create more insecurity? What is your program? Where is the budget? And all those things, blah 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 blah. Those things they should be asked, because they are going to they are representatives of the people. So the lawmakers actually need to speak out about this.
Interesting. We learned many things from this, and the emphasis has been that they need to create that conducive environment to carry that. And I've not heard about any mention whether there is need to start this process, if it is to proceed with sensitization before asking people to go and register their guns, or people are not allowed or restricted from using their guns anyhow. So let's turn our focus to the next, since time is not our best ally, to the diplomatic role of friction that emerged following the deportation of a man who turned out to be a Congolese, not South Sudanese, to South Sudan. And this has
This has resulted to what political analysts describe as collective punishment to South Sudanese after the U.S., revoke visas for South Sudanese. And this is the situation the country is in. And people are asking, there are a lot of questions initially, but this has been addressed by the government that this is a Congolese. But who is this kin to? Who is this kin to person that has created this controversy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kin to is a South Sudanese. Kin to is a South Sudanese as such, is a South Sudanese, no matter how the government is running away from its responsibility. Kin to is a South Sudanese according to the document. Yeah. You know, I don't know why South Sudanese are quick to judge, because even most of these brothers of ours from America, Europe, and Australia, they come with Australian passport. Why don't we judge them? They come with us. They are Australians. Those brothers of us who come from US, they are Americans. Some of them are MPs here in South Sudan. So many ministers are citizens of those countries. What is wrong for this Congolese man being a South Sudanese? It was given the document, whether it's fake, whether it's through corruption, whether whatever, is a South Sudanese. Period. Bring him home. What happened after that? Yes, seriously. And I mean, I don't know why, because he's a Congolese, we send him back to, and he has South Sudanese document. Come on, anyone can have a South Sudanese document.
Certified by
is your system, did the papers, that paper did the system at the Juba International Airport detected that the document is fake? It bear the,
so what do you think? Do you think the U.S. government's decision to revoke visas for South Sudanese nationals was justified?
No, that is not the, this thing can be addressed. Yeah. Very simple. There are things that goes wrong can be addressed before you take an action. But because U.S. like bullying to me, they were just bullying us. Yeah. And if I were also in charge of this country, I will also revoke the visas of Americans. I mean, this country, we have water, we have everything. I'm not whatever, but you revoke. It happened to Namibian.
Yes,
the Namibian president, the first female president, the Americans say, or the Europeans say, look, if you are a Namibian, you need a visa to come to our country. And the woman say, okay, it's okay. So to go to Namibia is free. You don't need a visa. But when she became the president, say, okay, you are doing visa. Okay, if you are an American, for you to come to Namibia, you need a visa. Tit for tat. So what happened? What happened was it shouldn't happen, because it can be addressed behind the scene. Kintu is a South Sudanese. There's no argument about that. He's a South Sudanese. He's holding South Sudan document, the Republic of South Sudan.
Actually, there's a comment, like someone was saying, like, why South Sudanese are shaming us for public, or even like putting our corruption system out to the public. Because as Kong mentioned, Zolle in the document at Junub Sudan, in the Jawaz Safar, in the Jinsi, in the Iya Haja, like, okay, why are you guys declaring this person yet ita kumyatala system be? Uzolle jamin safarat as Junub Sudan for America. So if there's something or something is wrong,
what it has is a travel document.
Yes, they will have a traveling document. But no, he's coming with his passport, and even like, voila, it's just a little bit crazy.
It's really a big mess for South Sudan to consider sending Kintu back. So how do you send Kintu back, or how do you send someone back that, or alleging that he is not a citizen of my country, a denied entry, and you send them back with the passport of your country without the passport of that country you allege that he belongs to? South Sudan was going to be right if they were going to send Kintu back with Congolese passport, with the fake passport, also having an evidence that, you see, this is the evidence that the passport is really fake. So Kintu is a typical South Sudanese because of the legal status.
Yes.
Now, I really don't want to say American were biased or they were hard on South Sudan.
Yes.
Actually, they might have bullied South Sudan, but actually, what I want to say is America is trying to tell us that our inappropriations in legalizing our systems of governance is becoming too much.
Yeah.
You know, this is not the first time South Sudanese are having issues
And
with
even if you remember
visa issues or
the
passports
Lebanese,
outside
wasn't
South
it
Sudanese.
Lebanese?
Yeah,
The
you've heard
Lebanese
of that,
guy.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there are a lot of those things that happen. Now, you know, America is one country that don't sleep when it comes to handling things legally. Yeah, they always don't sleep, and they can give a lesson. I might say the bully is really timely, yeah, to wake up.
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
sense,
Actually, yeah. Just to come in there is that they I think and I think something went wrong. I think they behind the scene they may try their best, and which is I do also blame our government. Maybe the person who was handling the matter is not professional. We are hearing 50 places for Juba, and I had a good gurina female Tashai,
It's
80% true. Galinas Gil Kudu female Tajosada or maybe foreign missions, they are not qualified. The relatives,
Yes.
okay? Maybe whoever was handling that case, and the other side, American are professionals, but on our side, maybe that guy does not know what he's doing. Because to me, and I believe I believe that is what caused Gosh's position.
Yeah.
Because the way things were handled by Minister of Foreign Affairs is like it's normal, like everything is normal. No, it's not normal. America are concerned about their security.
Exactly.
If you don't care about your country's security,
cares?
our citizens' security is a priority. Because we say
And that is why
bomb lo waga fi na fi jabal na
the US Deputy
so
Secretary of State
seriously
came out to clarify on that. And,
Yeah.
they are very concerned, actually, from Rubio's statement. They are very concerned about the way South Sudan handles
Legal matters. And
immigration matters.
Mhm.
And as you said, for them, they take every single case seriously, if it is to do with immigrants, because you know, America is so keen about issues to do with terrorism and people going there causing havoc in the country. So, and as you have also said, you know, a country that the U.S. has always blamed for poor governance, so what should you expect?
Yeah.
So,
And I think even like for a reason, it combined like why US visas sometimes takes forever. They look into you back to back. They check you, who you are, where you're coming from, what are you coming to do, when are you going, all these things. That's why the visa takes long. That's why like we should stop hiring in-laws and
you know, South Sudan,
And
South Sudan, they really, this is a big blunder for South Sudan. You know, America is very right. The decision is really very right. Let me explain why, according to my own opinion. You see, how can you send a criminal being exposed by other country, a criminal, he's legally a criminal in our country,
Yes.
of possessing our document, and
Yeah.
he's a criminal, that we should have detained him and
supports.
take some legal processes of investigating.
Yes.
How
Not sending
comes
him
now-
back,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sending him back, meaning we are sending a criminal back to other countries.
Our own criminal
Yeah, our own criminal. Someone who actually...
holding our document.
Yeah, holding our document.
if you're
is-
refusing him, you're refusing somebody that you have certified,
Of
Yes.
course.
sending him back to us.
Yeah.
You send them back there. So, you know, American can even do beyond what they did. They can even take South Sudan to the court because of sending them back or sending them someone with legal document of their own country claiming that the person don't belong to them. Now, if America started maybe investigating Kintu and maybe find out that he previously committed crimes in the U.S. and a lot of things, and he has been holding a South Sudanese passport.
And,
What
and,
do you
and
think that
yeah,
would mean for
and by
South
the way, when you heard from Professor Jok Madut that over 2,000 South Sudanese who are holding American visa now in the U.S.,
The likely to be affected.
they are likely to be affected. Why? You know, when they say they revoke the visas, huh? To me, when I looked at it, they are telling us all these passports your guys are holding are also they are suspicious of those whom you give passport.
They want to review.
They may among them they may be criminals.
Yeah, of course.
We have to review them again. And I think many of our guys who apply for visas and accepted have been receiving emails. So whoever is still in the US, maybe they will be doing background check.
It's one of the conditions.
Yes.
Before the US actually reconsider anything with the revocation, because they said they want to review. And
let me tell you my experience. Why America, with their security, you don't joke with it. When I went in 2014 in the US, we had to be brief. When you go there, how you conduct yourself and how security will deal with you. You will be alone. Even the organization that invites you will not be there. You know why? And what I learned, you know, when you are dressed, when you are going to US, don't go with smart suits. They will know this is this person, not a criminal, could be government official. You could be sensed as,
spy or
something.
like that?
They will be suspicious. So I put on the suit, and then all the guys are with. We were four. Me and Mama Helen and the late and this guy called Chris Marol. All of them, they were allowed to go. And I was told, you go back and sit there. They hold my passport. You know what happened? They will call me, they will say, sir, where are you going? I'll say, I'm coming for conference. That was African US Leadership Conference. Okay, do you know where you are going? I will tell them. How much money do you have? I will tell them. I say, I don't have money. Which hotel you are going? I will tell them. And then, when are you coming? Are you going back to your country? Yes. Your name, is this your name, sir? They call you sir. Yes. Why it sounds like Chinese? You know, I think there's suspicion. Maybe they think my name is a Chinese holding a South Sudanese passport because my name, it sounds like Chinese. So I was sent back. I took 1 hour. I will be called. I'll go back. And you know, imagine I found myself with most of the people who were told to wait. Most of them are West African, my friend. The dogs came, very big dog like this. It's missing, and just smelling everybody there. So finally, I was called, sir, you're welcome to United States of America. Here's your passport. You are free to go now. Seriously? 1 hour. But I realized it's because I was in a suit, and maybe my name, and maybe, you know, even when when you talk also, you have to be confident. You have to be confident. So I think, there's no joke with the American migration.
So now we have this collective punishment from the US. So what lessons can we learn from this, and how should the government now address it? Maybe 2 minutes each for lack of time. I can start by saying we have a good person now at the migration. He's a decorated general officer of migration. Is called Elias. Elias is in charge of migration now. He has to clean his house. He has to make sure he deploy competent South Sudanese in those countries. That's how we will recover from this setback. I call it a setback with our foreign affairs ministers.
Exactly.
Right.
No, you know, I didn't go to the U.S., but I read a lot about U.S. security. Like, I've been reading a lot about even the U.S.-EU relation in security. It's one of the tough country when it comes to security. Now, what I wanted to say to our government is whatever they wanted to play around within the continent or within other international spaces, they should not temper to play with the security sector of the U.S. because it's one of the most advanced. And it's not like we are now talking about our country is vulnerable to other humanitarian situations, so we should talk well to the U.S., but we know they have the superpowers. Now, I'm just talking about who are those who should be working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I was in love with how the relieved the former minister was. Goch was so vocal. So he was really a good guy. But I don't want to question his capabilities in the office. But then I just want to relate this to Kenya. Like if you are to look into the Foreign Ministry Affairs, the officials, take a look at Madhavadi. Those are capable guys, like guys with deep root in diplomacy and public relations, or let me say international relations. So this is one thing that the government of South Sudan have to employ to ensure that they don't fall into problem or another row with any other country. It is not only the matter of fearing a row with the US, but every country, actually the government have to make sure that the office of the maybe Foreign Affairs Ministry should be handled by people of high profile, people who have deeper root in diplomacy, people who have deeper root in international relations, just to make sure we avoid such problems.
If it's to come for the new minister, I can say he's the right person in a position, but I don't know what will happen next to him. So I will also love to see whatever Elias Costa is doing. He should be doing the same. Put his house in order, and I wish there will be no such stories to come, and not only in those positions or not only in those ministries, but the whole ministry, so that we can have a proper system in South Sudan, so that we can avoid such a dramatic situation or a shaming public situations.
I suppose other European countries or allies of US have actually, this has opened their eyebrows about South Sudanese.
Yeah.
And these are countries that have been supporting South Sudan
Yes.
time immemorial. And I think personally they need to take this seriously. And they say one frog spoils the whole. So this is a serious matter that I need to look at, because our country is vulnerable, has been depending so much on these countries.
Yes.
And a small thing like this that paints a very bad image. It's not a good thing to this country. I do appreciate your insight, Kong Parchang and Diko.
Thank you so much.
And Darlington
you.
Moses, that was really good of you. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
let's keep this next time. And before I wind up, I need to thank Lo Nelson, who is behind this streaming. And to you, dear listener, it's been a privilege actually having you glued to Around South Sudan podcast. Let's have another edition next Friday. From me to you, have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics.